is week number 4 in the National Football League as your Seattle Seahawks face their toughest test yet, taking on the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football from Ford Field in Detroit. And the Seahawks come in as underdogs, 3.5 with the over-under at 46.5. Seattle with a perfect 3-0 record, facing a very good Detroit Lions team coming off an NFC Championship game appearance. But the Seahawks have had their way with Detroit, with wins in Detroit the last 2 seasons. Can they make it 3 in a row? Coming up on this edition of Seahawks Today, we'll go over my keys to victory. We'll break down the injury report, and I'll give you my prediction as well. All that and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. If you're ready for game day, spam S in the comments section. That is our rallying cry here on Seahawks Today. We want you to get in that chat and feel like you're sitting down at Lumen Field. You're not really sitting down. You're standing up at Lumen Field. I want to see as many S's as we can, at least 300. If you're ready for game day, you want the Seahawks win. If we get 300 S's, that guarantees victory. If you don't believe me, well, let's find out right now. Spam S in the comment section. We'll get started with today's show. The injury report for the Seahawks at the time of this recording has some very notable names, including Uchenna Nwosu with an MCL trying to make his return back. Jerome Baker with a hamstring injury. He, of course, has been banged up for a little while now. Kenneth Walker missed the last 2 games with an oblique injury. Leonard Williams got injured in the win against the Dolphins with a ribs injury, while Byron Murphy also got injured against the Dolphins with a hamstring injury. All 5 of these players are questionable. Meanwhile, for Detroit, their injury report is a lot longer than the Seahawks' injury report is. Brian Branch, their star second-year safety out of Alabama, he's questionable with a concussion. Ennis Rakestraw Jr., the rookie corner out of Mizzou with a hamstring injury, he's questionable. Isaiah Williams with an abdomen, he's questionable. Alex Analonzone with a concussion, he is questionable. You got a Deef 2, I'm just going to leave it at that, with an ankle injury, he's questionable. Frank Ragnow, who's been one of the better centers in football, he's questionable with a pec injury. McNeil with a shoulder, questionable. And then Sam Laporta, their star tight end, is also questionable with an ankle injury. So a lot for Detroit. 8 total for Detroit, 5 for Seattle on the injury report there. So let's start with our keys to victory. What's it going to take to get a win against Detroit? For me, it starts with Aidan Hutchinson. Aidan Hutchinson, the former number 2 overall pick out of Michigan, has been fantastic since he entered the National Football League. And now to begin the 2024 season, we're really starting to see him look like one of the best pass rushers in all of football. He's already got 6.5 sacks in the first 3 games to go along with 6 tackles for loss, 16 tackles, and 1 forced fumble. He's been fantastic. And you think about this, where he lines up, it's not going to be Charles Cross taking on Aidan Hutchinson. He lines up on the opposite side, where, yes, Stone Forsythe is. Oh, boy, I'm nervous as hell about that. And I think everybody should be nervous as hell about that, of Stone Forsythe having to take on Aidan Hutchinson. That ain't good, folks. That ain't good at all. Seahawks offensive line has been atrocious to begin this season. And now you have to take on Aidan Hutchinson with that guy trying to defend him, trying to keep Geno protected. Oh, boy. Oh. Man, they're going to need to double team, triple team him. I mean, God, that does not sound great at all. Today's show is sponsored by BetUS. BetUS is the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, enter the promo code Seahawks125, you will get a 125% deposit bonus on your first deposit. It's like getting a pizza, then getting another pizza for free and an extra slice. The odds for this game, the Lions slight favorites at 3.5. The over-under set at 46.5. What is your bet going to be? Get your bets in now. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Seahawks125. Get in the comment section. Let me know. You going with the Seahawks? Type S. You going with the Lions? Type L. Weigh in. Let us know what your bet's going to be this Monday night. Number 2, run the damn ball. Seahawks had some success in the run game last week against Miami. A breakthrough performance for Zach Charbonnet. Whether we see Kenneth Walker or not, the Seahawks need to commit to the run game and make it work with Charbonnet. And you see what he's done. His yards per carry went up quite a bit from what it was a week prior. He was averaging about 2.7 yards per carry. Now that's up to about 3.5. He's had 3 rushing touchdowns. He's been impactful in the receiving game as well. I want to see the Seahawks effectively use Zach Charbonnet and run the football accordingly. And you think about what the Seahawks rushing rankings are at this point in time. Although they had that solid performance running the football there in week 3, and you had a good game from Kenneth Walker in week 1, their rushing statistics as a whole are not that good. The rush play percentage, 20th in the league. Yards per rush, 3.9. That's 26th in the league. Remember, you got to get 4 yards every play, and they're coming up short of that. If you get 4 yards every run play, you win. They're a little bit short. Rush yards per game, 25.0. That's 18th. Rush yards per game, 23rd. But they're doing a good job getting in the end zone. The rush touchdowns per game is 4th in the league at 1.7 right now. Run the damn ball. Number 3, DK. Touchdowns all day. He rules. You guys know it. DK has been fantastic the last 2 weeks. And for me, one of the things I notice when you watch DK Metcalf play, watch this closely, almost every single time that DK goes off and has a big game, and he had a big game last year against Detroit, it's almost every time when they get him involved from the jump, when they set the tone early. And with the way that he's playing right now, 13th in catches, 6th in receiving yards, tied for 10th in receiving touchdowns, why would you not get the ball to DK Metcalf? Find him early, find him often. The stats for him this year, 17 catches, 262 yards, coming off back-to-back 100-yard receiving games, setting the franchise record for most 50-plus yard touchdowns. He's got the hot hands right now. Fade it to DK early, get him the football, and let him show up and show out. Who will be the Seahawks MVP against the Detroit Lions? Is it going to be DK? Is it going to be somebody else? Get in that comment section. Let us know who you believe will be the difference in a win for Seattle. We'll be live right here on Seahawks Today for Seahawks and Lions. Our coverage begins with our hour-long pregame show at 4:15 Pacific time. At 7:15 on the East Coast. We'll be live throughout the game. Smitty's going to be here. You will not want to miss it. Going to be a great time right here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, and we will see you then. Number 4. Jared Goff, the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions. He's been very solid the last couple of seasons. Had arguably the best season of his career last year with Detroit. And one of the things that I notice when you look at this Detroit Lions situation is they've done a very good job of protecting Jared Goff. You got to have protection, right? And for me, I'm looking at, of the statistics, think about this. He's been sacked just 3.6 of the Lions' offensive snaps. That's 4th best in the NFL. They've done a really good job protecting him. Comparably speaking, on the Seahawks end of things, their sack rate is about 9.82% on defensive snaps. That's 8th best in the NFL. So what that tells me is something's got to give. Either the Seahawks pass rush is going to be ineffective and that Jared Goff is going to have all day to throw the football and do his thing and let it sling, or the Seahawks defense is going to be able to have their way with the Detroit Lions offensive line. Something has to give if you're the Seahawks Hopefully it's on your end of things where the pass rush is effective. And the guy I'm watching for is Derek Hall. Derek Hall had a great game last week against Detroit, against Miami, rather. The best game of his career. Had 2 sacks in that game. He's tied for the team lead in sacks with 3. Also has a forced fumble and a TFL. Watch out for Derek Hall. I want to see him build on what he did last week. And finally, on our last key to victory for the Seahawks, it's playing mistake-free football. Look, you're going on the road. You're taking on one of the best teams in the National Football Conference. You cannot play with mistakes. You have to go out there and essentially play a perfect game if you want to win this one on the road. And the Seahawks, despite having a 3-0 record, have not necessarily won these by a pretty fashion, by any stretch of the imagination. You look at what they've done. Let's break down a couple things. Let's start with the turnover category. Seahawks are 21st in turnover margin per game, 19th in giveaways per game, 13th in takeaways per game, and 22nd in interceptions thrown percentage at 2.91%, all except the takeaways in the bottom half of the league. And it's not just the turnovers. The Seahawks also got to cut down on the penalties. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Stone Forsythe, Laken Tomlinson. All of y'all got to do a better job. Penalties per play has got to go down. Penalties per game has got to go down. Penalty yardage needs to go down. Penalty yards, all of it. You're in the bottom half of the league. Clean up the little stuff. Do the little things right, because you are going to need a perfect performance if you're going to beat this Detroit Lions team. In a moment, I will give you my official prediction for how I see this game playing out on Monday night. But first, I want to ask you, what's your confidence level in the Seahawks beating the Lions? Scale it for me 1 through 10 and let us know. To recap, our keys to victory. What's it going to take to beat Detroit? Containing Aidan Hutchinson, running the damn football, getting DK involved early, getting after Jared Goff, and playing mistake-free. If the Seahawks do all those things, they'll be in good shape. But I don't think that happens, folks. I got to tell you, I'm worried about Aidan Hutchinson. To me, that's a mismatch that the Lions are going to expose taking on Stone Forsythe, and that, to me, is the difference in this football game. I hate to do it. I hope I'm wrong, but I think Seattle gets handed their first loss of the year. Give me the Lions 27-24. If you're ready for game day, you're excited for Seahawks football on Monday night, spam S in the comments section, and we will see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.